On the evening of August 12, 1985, a routine flight from Tokyo to Osaka turned into one of the most tragic and mysterious aviation disasters in history. Japan Airlines Flight 123, a Boeing 747, would embark on a journey that would change the lives of many forever. In this video, we'll explore the events leading up to the crash, the investigation that followed, and the lessons learned from this devastating disaster. Japan Airlines Flight 123 was a domestic flight scheduled to fly from Tokyo's Narita International Airport to Osaka International Airport. The aircraft was a Boeing 747 SR, a version of the 747 designed specifically for domestic flights in Japan. It had a seating capacity of 500 passengers. On board that day were 15 crew members and 505 passengers. The flight was expected to take just over an hour. The weather was clear, and everything seemed normal for a routine flight. Shortly after takeoff at around 6:12 p.m., something went horribly wrong. Flight 123 experienced a catastrophic failure. A pressure bulkhead in the rear of the aircraft ruptured, causing a massive decompression of the fuselage. The cause of this failure? A faulty repair made 7 years earlier, after the plane had been involved in a tail strike incident. That earlier repair, which had been conducted improperly, weakened the fuselage. Over time, this damage expanded. And when the aircraft took off that evening, it caused the rear bulkhead to fail, rupturing the fuselage and instantly depressurizing the plane. The decompression caused massive damage to the plane's control systems. The aircraft lost all hydraulic power, meaning the pilots could no longer control the ailerons, elevators, or rudders, all critical for the plane's flight control. For nearly 30 minutes, the pilots were in a desperate struggle to maintain control of the aircraft. The plane was flying on autopilot, but without the ability to adjust its direction or altitude, it began to roll and pitch violently. Despite these challenges, the crew's skill and determination kept them alive. They attempted several emergency landings, but each time, the plane's instability made it impossible. With no control over the plane's altitude and direction, Flight 123 flew in circles over the Japanese countryside, desperately trying to find a place to land. The pilots communicated with air traffic control, but the plane's erratic movements made it increasingly difficult to predict where it would end up. At 6:56 p.m., nearly 30 minutes after the initial decompression, the aircraft flew into the mountains of Mount Takamagahara, approximately 100 kilometers west of Tokyo. The aircraft crashed into the mountainside, instantly killing 520 people aboard. However, despite the overwhelming odds, there were survivors. Miraculously, 4 passengers survived the crash. These survivors were discovered by rescue teams hours after the crash, and their accounts have provided critical insights into the events of that tragic night. One of the survivors, a flight attendant named Keiko Kawakami, later recalled the terrifying moments before the crash, describing the violent shaking and the crew's desperate attempts to comfort the passengers. She later testified that some passengers had already died before the crash, likely due to the decompression. Immediately after the crash, the Japanese authorities launched an extensive investigation into the cause of the disaster. It was soon determined that the failure of the rear bulkhead caused by a botched repair job 7 years earlier was the root cause. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, also conducted an investigation, and both agencies found that Japan Airlines had failed to properly inspect the aircraft after the repair. The crash was further attributed to a series of failures in the aircraft's design, maintenance, and emergency procedures. The investigation found that the improper repair, combined with the plane's inability to maintain hydraulic control, led to the crash. The aftermath of Japan Airlines Flight 123 was felt across the aviation world. The disaster marked the deadliest single aircraft accident in aviation history, with 520 lives lost. In the wake of the crash, Japan Airlines made significant improvements in its maintenance protocols, and the aviation industry worldwide began to focus more on the importance of proper repairs and inspections. The crash also led to a reassessment of how airlines handle emergency situations, particularly with regard to crew training and flight control systems. Japan Airlines Flight 123 remains one of the most tragic events in the history of aviation. It also serves as a reminder of the importance of proper maintenance and the need for vigilance in every aspect of flight safety. Though the crash occurred nearly 40 years ago, its impact is still felt today. The lessons learned from this disaster have contributed to the safety standards and procedures that ensure passengers are safer on flights worldwide. Japan Airlines Flight 123 is not just a symbol of tragedy, but also of resilience and the unyielding spirit of those who survived and those who continue to work towards making air travel as safe as possible. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please leave a like and subscribe for more aviation stories. And, as always, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.